All right, welcome everyone. It's now 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Fenton Township Board meeting on this Tuesday, the 16th day of December, 2025. I'd ask everyone to please stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Gopal, will you lead us? Please.
Heavenly Father, we gather here tonight to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom on our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. And as always, we thank you for being the source of our guidance tonight. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, thanks, Mark. Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Lorraine,
Present.
Reed,
Here.
Clark,
Present.
Krug is present, Kessler,
Here.
Gopal,
Here.
Tucker.
Present.
And to let everybody know, Tucker beat all of us here.
It should be reflected in the minutes.
It should.
It's the first time for
I'll
everything.
second that.
That's why it should be reflected in the minutes.
We can just write miracle
The miracle on Manitowoc.
on Manitowoc.
Well, I have to pop that balloon. He was here for an early meeting.
Well, but that's beside the point.
But he did make that meeting on
He
time.
did make the
Take my
meeting.
thunder away.
I'd like to note for the record that our Township Attorney, Jack Belzer, Operations Manager Tom Broker, our Zoning Administrator Mike Deem, our Assessor Julia Wilson, and our Fire Chief Ryan Volz are also present this evening. Additionally, via Zoom, our Township Engineers, Melissa Lawrence from Lawrence Engineering. Tom, will you detail the procedures for those attending tonight's virtual meeting?
Yes, to members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised the meeting is being recorded to be shown on Public Access TV Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed. For tonight's meeting, there is one public hearing on the proposed street lighting special assessment for West Winds Phase 2, during which public comment will be accepted. All other public comment will be taken near the end of the meeting. Meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website at fentontownship.org.
All right, thanks, Tom. Moving on to the first business order is the approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
Make that motion?
Support.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Clark,
Yes.
I vote yes. Kessler,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
motion passes.
And the agenda stands approved as presented. Moving on to the meeting minutes, included in the packet are the meeting minutes from the December 2nd regular meeting. Are there any requested revisions to these meeting minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Moving on to expenditures, are there any questions from the board regarding any of the invoices? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion regarding the payment of expenditures totaling $916,744.96 for payment.
Motion to approve the expenditures as submitted.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. I vote yes. Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
motion passes.
And expenditures stand approved as presented. Moving on to public hearings. As Tom said, this is West Winds 2 Street Lighting Special Assessment District Hearing of Necessity. The owner/developer of the West Winds condominium subdivision has petitioned for a street lighting special assessment district in Phase 2 of the development. The estimated cost of the project is $5,750 for the street light installation and $3,500 per year for the operation and maintenance of the street lights. And that doesn't include, plus an administrative cost. This is a public hearing on the creation of the special assessment district. The board will now accept public comment on the following: the creation of the special assessment district, the proposed boundaries of the district, the necessity of the improvement, the preliminary plans for the improvement, and the estimated cost for the improvement. Tom, do we have any written comments?
We do not.
All right. I will will now open up for public comment on the West Winds 2 street lighting special assessment. Is there anyone here? There is not. Is there anyone that has joined us via Zoom that would like to address the board? And we have no one, so I will now close public hearing. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Developer Special Assessment District. Hard to get excited.
Makes it easy.
All right, resolution number 2025-52. Clerk Crew, will you please present the resolution?
Yes, determines that the petition submitted meets the over 50% requirement of the statute, approves the preliminary plans and estimated costs, creates the West Wing 2 Street Lighting Special Assessment District, which includes units 68 through 149 of the West Wing condominium subdivision, directs the supervisor to create a special assessment roll, repeals any conflicting resolutions. I'll move the resolution.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Rain.
Yes.
I vote yes. Clark.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right, in anticipation of the adoption of the previous resolution, a special assessment roll has been created, certified, and filed with the Township Clerk. Resolution number 2025-53. Clerk Crew, will you please present the resolution?
Yes. Acknowledges the filing of a special assessment roll with the clerk and its availability for review until the public hearing. Schedules a public hearing on the special assessment roll, in January 6, 2026 board meeting. Directs the clerk to publish and mail the notice of hearing according to statute, repeals any conflicting resolutions. I'll move the resolution.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Kessler.
Yes.
Rain.
Yes.
I vote yes. Clark.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, moving on to the next business orders reports. We have one report this evening from our zoning administrator, and this is the November 2025, and the last one of the year.
Yep. All right. So for the Planning Commission, they reviewed a preliminary site plan for Horizon Air Park, Price's Airport, for a couple of new hangars. So preliminary site plan was granted to that. Final site plan approval was granted to Silver Edge Marina for storage of boats on Silver Lake Road. You guys had previously approved that rezoning. And the Planning Commission has begun to review outdated and unacted on planned unit developments, right, to get them rezoned back to an appropriate zoning other than PUD. Zoning Board, they had two variance requests. Parks Board did not meet in November. And then two other things of note. Township has been receiving some more interest in wanting to expand water. We've been holding meetings with people just interested. They may be coming to board meetings in the future to talk to you guys. They may not. Just giving you guys a heads up on that. And then for me, right, and actually Monica, back in the beginning of the month, the Fun Genesee Group had their Art of Achievement Awards, and Monica and myself were nominated for, what do they call it here? Well, we were nominated for awards, essentially that were for,
That's looking, right?
yeah, right. So they were highlighting business and business leaders that were making an impact on Flint and Genesee, and we were for our customer service. We were both nominated. We didn't win, which was good because they made people give speeches. But it was cool to be nominated. It was cool to go.
Yeah, two people from our township were nominated. I've attended almost every one except for the last 2 years, and I should have attended it, but I did not. So, but they're big awards for Genesee County, so congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mike, in reference to these hangars
Yep.
that they're talking about, you know, I used to have a plane over at the East Wing over at Bishop, and people would use those for personal purposes, not put their planes in there, they would put their cars in there.
Yep.
And it's more of a storage unit for people. And I know, that what is it, the airport authority, are they gonna be monetizing this, or is it something we have to look at, or, I mean,
Yeah, like I think at the end of the day, it's something we have to look at. Part of the planned unit development language is that that's not allowed, right? It has to be for the storage of planes or for maintenance of planes or something relating to aviation. So the storage of only your cars and turning it into a man cave in and of itself is not an allowed use, right? So those are things that we look at when they make their applications for building permits, to make sure that the work that's being done is consistent with what the ordinance allows.
thank you.
Any other questions for Mike? Thanks, Mike. Are there any committee reports to be made to the board this evening? All right, hearing none. Communications, this evening we have none. Moving on to adoption of ordinances, this is a proposed zoning ordinance amendment, keeping of chickens and ducks. This is the second reading. However, this ordinance, if you remember, was introduced at their November 18th meeting. We postponed it at the last meeting to allow for revisions. However, due to recommendations to make further revisions to the proposed ordinance, I recommend that formal action be postponed until the January 6th, 2026 meeting. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question in reference to the Farm Act. Could you explain that to me a little bit better in detail?
Sure.
I mean,
Can you preface about why you're asking about selling of eggs, right?
well, the selling of eggs, yeah, that's one of them. I mean, I just wanna know, you know,
So, we
the
had
science behind it.
we'll call him an expert on the right to farm act come before the planning commission, just to talk about, right to farm in general, and, you know, chickens and ducks was also kind of on the background of the agenda. But the 50,000-foot overview is in order to get protection under the right to farm act. There's two components to it. One is the GAMPs, which you're probably familiar with, generally accepted management practices, consistently applied. They tell you they've got GAMPs for location, they've got GAMPs for removal of waste, feed storage, GAMPs on everything. The second component that nobody knows about or doesn't really think about is that it has to be a commercial use. Okay? So if you got a commercial use and you are in compliance with the GAMPs, the township is out of the equation. They cannot regulate, they can't do anything. If you sue them for nuisance, they wave the right to farm flag, and township goes home not able to do anything. So that is why it's so critical in what we're doing, that there be clearly prohibitions on commercial use. And I know it defies what normal people would do with logic. Chickens have eggs, ducks have eggs. What's it gonna harm letting them sell the eggs? Well, what it does is it takes the township ordinance out of the equation, and the GAMPs come into play. And I'm gonna put Mike on the spot, but the GAMPs would allow a lot, like magnitudes of 1,000 more than what we're talking about on these sites. So we've got them all through the township in the residential districts. You can't lose control of it to the right to farm, or at least hypothetically, you could have a Campbell's Soup chicken farm next door to you, and there wouldn't be a darn thing the township could do about it. So that's why there's some, what appears on its face to be stupid things in terms of restrictions about commercial use, including the sale of eggs, and that's why. Did I lose you?
No, I'm following you. Now, do you know of any other township that has passed an ordinance in reference to,
Well, you got, I mean, the two cities around us have chicken and duck ordinances, and they all say that, you know, no commercial use,
Got it.
you know, for the same reason.
Okay.
You know, everybody's cognizant of the issue. Now, I flat out asked the guy, I said, you know, what if somebody has made commercial use in a district and it was not allowed in that district? It was illegal when they did it. Do you still get right to farm act protection? He did not know the answer to that. He said somebody in a black robe will have to decide that question. So, you know, it's, what we're doing isn't risk-free. I want everybody to be aware of that. There's some risks to opening this door. What we're doing, I think, is limited enough. might as well sometime yap and I'll tell you my opinion. I think we're solving a problem that doesn't exist, okay? There's a handful of people that are interested in it. There's a handful of people that think it's a really bad idea. I think probably 85% of the people are in the middle and don't give a rat's tootie about it. And so I don't think that makes them for or against. You know, there seems to be a lot of ambivalence. So I would be just fine not doing anything, but I am also comfortable with the restrictions that we have in here, being the main one being 5. So if you put 5 ducks or geese at every, residential structure in the township, I don't think the world's gonna come to anything.
Parcel size be damned.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I can't have is what Bill is asking the questions about. We cannot have a scenario where the township is out of the equation and only the GAMPs govern how many chickens and ducks can go on these properties. It's gonna be thousands. And, I don't know people that would do that. I don't think there's gonna be very many people that are even gonna do the 5 that we would allow under this ordinance. But that's the risk, and that's why there's stupid stuff.
Yeah, I just need more clarity.
Not stupid.
Yeah. So I guess I might as well keep talking, because if you guys have a copy of, I think of what we're looking at, we're not voting on it tonight. But I did what I told you I was gonna do with respect to beefing up the no commercial stuff. I beefed that up. That's the stuff that's in blue. And then I also beefed up the language about private restrictions, because if there's existing building and use restrictions, this is not gonna allow people to put them where the local citizens have agreed that they're not gonna do that in that subdivision. So that language is the beefed up language that's in blue. The last minute changes that were alluded to, I asked Mike, I said, what do we got for enforcement? Because I thought there was a section in the ordinance that dealt with violations of this stuff and how you revoke them. He did a look and said, yeah, I don't think so. So he gave me the language that we'd used in the short-term rental ordinance, and I modified it to kind of
Make it
conform
consistent.
to this ordinance. But that's where it came from, and I appreciate Mike doing that, 'cause what I was gonna do was about 2 sentences long, and this is, I think, a little more detailed, a little more on point. But that was the third thing that's changed. So you got, enhancement of the no commercial language, enhancement of the private restriction language, and you have a new enforcement mechanism that allows, with notice and opportunity to be heard, a permit to get revoked if people aren't doing what they're supposed to be, or they shouldn't have been doing it in the first place.
So it doesn't, I see ags crossed out because that ag's already ag.
And they can do way more than 5 on ag.
Or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so this is just 1 through 4, 5, 6, and 7, we're not, can't live in a condo or.
Right, it's too dense,
Okay,
I
I'm cool with that.
think
I'm
that's
just-
what we're talking about.
And the reason we're doing this, you did this, is just so we can kinda keep a leash on whatever we can keep a leash on more than anything,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, there's a little bit of pressure because the cities around us that are, by definition are gonna be more dense, are allowing it. And I checked before I got here, and the world has not ended yet in
Nope.
either of those cities. I don't know, I haven't seen chickens around in either one of them, so I'm guessing there's something going on. So there's a little bit of pressure on us, because we're much less dense than they are. And there are some people that advocate for this. There are also people that are concerned about it. And again, I think it's, 7.5%, 10% on each end, and everybody else is just in the middle and doesn't really care.
Bell curve.
Yeah.
I think the people that are really involved in it are people that look at eggs as a nutritious food source, and they want to do it organically, they wanna have their own. They're a lot of work. I mean, if you wanna get up before you go to work and get the eggs out, if you don't, you can't wait to get home. So they're a lot of work, so I think the people that are gonna do it are gonna be the Manal Sobs that use them, that are gonna raise them for the nutrition, of their eggs. And I
Yeah,
so.
and I think honestly, the opposition, I think anytime you bring anything to light, that's where half the opposition comes in. I think with the running houses, short-term rentals too. Never was an issue, we brought it up there, now there's people against it because it's on their radar. And so I don't think necessarily I understand it's 10% each way, more or less, but I don't think the 10% that are against it are as against it as the 10% that were for it. Because they're the ones that were
I
pushing
agree.
for it. 10% are gonna, you throw anything out there, 10% are gonna be like, nope. So,
Nobody complained about it before.
right.
So John, does this ordinance, does it apply to agricultural?
Does
No.
not,
No,
because
no,
ag
okay.
already allows, what we talked about 2 or 3 meetings ago, is that you know, a limitation of 5 on an egg parcel is insane, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing chickens, you're doing them by the hundreds or more, depending on what you're doing with it. And you need ag property to do that, and the acreage is there for it, and, you know, I've worked in those places, I know what they're like, when I was a young kid,
Yeah,
But I mean, that's ag, that's what it is.
That's right.
it's a bad job.
And they
I
should
would-
have the right to do it.
Yeah, and we've always, that's what we've told people, because it's been,
Absolutely.
up until this ordinance goes, it's been illegal everybody else. And we're telling them,
That's what I'm
if you wanna do chickens, ducks, go find some ag property. You know, that's where it belongs. Well, now, this opens a small crack in that idea, and it's limited to ducks and chickens. So we shouldn't see any cows or buffaloes or, you know, anything else in
So,
our
so let me
subdivision.
ask you this, so the property that's over on North Long Lake Road in Fenton, okay, that's considered ag back in there, right? And I believe the guy sells eggs there, but, you know, he rightfully so, but he could have as many chickens as he wanted, right?
Well, there's gaps that tell you how many he can have, but
Yeah.
assume it's thousands.
Okay.
For the acreage you have. I mean, most people don't, unless you're selling chickens to Campbell Soup or eggs to the Detroit Farmers Market, you know, you're not gonna have that kind of volume, but they do exist, you know, I'm aware of them.
And this will be enforced like all our other on a
Right.
complaint basis.
Complaint basis only.
Yeah, well, actually, we're gonna appoint you to be the chief chicken and duck counter. And
You're gonna be the
We'll
enforcer.
send you out.
We're gonna have a permit, so we're gonna have a list, and you go around, and we're gonna count them. I'm only kidding, but
We
you
could
don't
bu-
have to do that.
Jack,
Oh,
I thought Jack
As
was going.
John mentioned, this is not bulletproof that any judge, or every judge is gonna go along with this. There's a couple things that could conceivably, not in district court so much, but would be circuit court actions to challenge some of this. And I can see where some of those things could get challenged. I mean, I'm comfortable, and John and I talked before, while John was working so hard on all this. But there are a couple things that everybody ought to be aware of, that if somebody really wanted to challenge some of this, it wouldn't be in district court, it'd be a circuit court matter. So there's a couple things in there that are challengeable. But just so everybody realizes that, it's not
Yeah,
a
but
100 bulletproof.
where we would be hanging our hat is that we have never allowed commercial use in residential districts, period. Never allowed. If you remember, we were talking about a moratorium, I didn't wanna go there just because it would have given the appearance of allowing it. And again, it's all back to the question
Right.
Bill was raising about right to farm. So Jack's right, there's no guarantees, and if you open the door, I mean, we could rue the day that we did this, I think the risk of that is fairly small.
yeah, I mean, you can't make anything litigation proof.
Right.
Ever,
try.
right?
The only way that works is if there's no lawyers around.
Stop, Jack.
Well,
Don't be giving them
That's
ideas.
a good day.
damn.
That's a really good day.
So all we have to do is slip more than 5 ducks
Into
into
your
Tucker's
neighbor's-
yard.
Tucker's yard, and my permit will be revoked.
Can I ask what the permit costs?
Don't think we decided yet, have we? It's up by the board. Sorry?
The zoning permit is $100.
$100. 12 dozen eggs.
Seems kinda high.
Your
Is that
first
a
year?
one time?
I mean,
Yeah, one
I
time.
Yeah,
understand
it's just
a
a
lot of
one-time.
it's for, I understand that, but most of that's for the work and the permit needs, right? To go out and inspect it and see it. I mean, do we have to make this $100? It seems
I
high to
really
me.
don't care what it is.
Does it
I know.
require you to go inspect it
No,
before?
it's.
No,
it's
complaint
either
based.
R3 or R3. I mean,
Well, no, but the pen and the enclosures are gonna need to be inspected. Somebody's gotta do
I
that.
just think
You
$100
can't get
is
anybody
a
to do,
lot. If you're trying to save money on eggs,
yeah.
you're gonna,
But you have internal costs, $100 is never gonna cost, or cover the cost you have to process that. I mean, that's impossible.
okay.
Well,
That's
and
fine.
the thing is, Mark, I think that,
We shouldn't
I
be
don't
making
think people
money
do
on
it for
this
money,
stuff.
because they're not gonna be doing it for money anyway, because they can't. They're gonna be doing it for nutrition. They're gonna do it because they want to do, not to save money. They're not gonna
Well,
save
I
money. A
know.
pin's gonna cost them $400 or $500. I mean, if you extrapolate that over the, you know,
Well, that was an argument when the eggs went to $7 a dozen.
That's true.
And you could do it again. So, I mean, if it's 100, that's cool. I mean, as long as we're not making money on this. I just,
Probably
we're
losing
not
money.
that bored.
Probably losing money to do
Okay.
it, but,
That's-
but it does gives us the ability to know where it's going on, and it's done in conformity of all the stuff that we've spent time thinking about and saying we should do.
I get it. I think it's kinda high, but I get it.
but anytime you send somebody out,
I understand.
trust me, I'm with you, but, all right, any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to postpone the adoption of the proposed zoning ordinance amendment pertaining to the keeping of chickens and ducks to our January 6th meeting.
Motion to postpone hearing on the proposed ordinance for the keeping of chicken and ducks to January 6th meeting.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote yes. Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right. Next order of business, unfinished business. We have none this evening. Moving on to new business, we have the proposed HVAC agreement with Train USA. I'm sure everyone's reviewed the memo in their packet, but Operations Manager Broker can give a little additional details.
Yes, so what we have is a proposed 3-year agreement to provide maintenance services for our new equipment. It is higher cost than our old contract because the new equipment requires annual software maintenance plan. They also are rolling a lot of the time and materials costs from the old, that we did, a lot of services that we did under time and materials under the old contract into the contract, which I believe will actually save a little bit on that part of it. And we did get them, at Jack's suggestion, to approve an amendment that allows changes to the terms and conditions only if we agree to it in writing. I didn't think there was a lot of risk there, but it just does protect us a little bit more, so. Train has always done a real good job taking care of our equipment, since this building was redone 23 years ago, and I'm confident they'll continue to do the same.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Any other questions or comments?
I think all of you know I hate maintenance contracts. I really hate maintenance contracts on new stuff because it's new. Okay? Yeah, it requires a software maintenance. No, it requires software updates. It doesn't require me to pay you money to come in here and do this and such and that. So you know where I'm starting, okay? I also know what I have to pay to do the time and material based stuff for much smaller stuff than this. The numbers aren't that offensive, even though they're much more than what I pay and what we used to pay. If you're rolling, because my question would normally be, Tom, what would it cost us to do time and material on this stuff? And if it isn't already, it's gonna get to the point where they say, that is not an option. You can't do that, you must buy. They're all going to that, and I still hate it, and I'll still argue and complain about it. But I do know what these things cost on a time and materials basis. This is, I think, reasonable given the scope of the system that we have here that needs to be maintained. Still hate it, but I think we're stuck.
And I agree with John, but I know that in the commercial real estate that I own, what it costs, and I did the same thing when Tom brought it to me. I read it over and I looked at the numbers and I said, that's easy to swallow.
It helps
Doesn't
we have
take much to eat that.
Helps that we have a good track record too. If this was a new vendor coming in, I didn't know anything about it, I'd probably feel a lot differently about it, but we have good working relationship with them, we got new stuff. Hopefully the environment inside the building will be better now.
And also, it does include coming in and training Tom. We're gonna be able to have, software now that we can control, turn on heat, control it from ourselves, from laptops, things like that. So especially the first 1 or 2 years, you're gonna have, like with every other software, you're gonna have a lot of our employee, or at least Tom, working with their team. So I think it's reasonable. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion regarding the proposed 2025 to 2028 HVAC maintenance agreement with Train USA, Inc. as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the HVAC maintenance agreement.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business, proposed amendment private road snow removal agreement. Tom, will you review that?
Yes, so a few meetings back, the board approved a 4-year contract for private road snow removal and ice control services for some of the streets that have private road maintenance special assessments. And that contract went to the Fenton groundskeeper. So in the meantime, Pinewood Trail and Lake Farms Court off from Pinewood Trail, they also have a road maintenance special assessment, but were not part of the township contract in prior years. They had a different contractor that they used. I was advised last week that that contractor has told them he can no longer do the work, and they submitted a written request. One of the owners submitted a written request on behalf of his neighbors to just add their streets to the township contract. I've talked to Mr. Schaefer with the Fenton groundskeeper, he's prepared to take it on. And so what we have in the packet is a revised version of the agreement that was just approved a few meetings ago and adds the Pinewood Trail and Lake Farms Court to the contract.
All right, thanks, Tom. Any questions or comments from the board?
And the charges on that are per occurrence anyway, right?
Yes.
Well, we're talking about it, this is unrelated to this one, but there's scuttlebutt in my hood about the snow plow contract in our area. So you're probably gonna see something similar, but the converse of that. Is what's happening in my neighborhood is there's a contractor that does Four Lakes Avenue, Four Lakes Drive, and a different contractor that does Crystal Cove that comes off to the side. The last large snowfalls, there's been 3-foot furrows left on Crystal Cove Court and the side streets by the company that is not contracted to go down there, so they just keep going and they leave the furrows, which obviously makes the people that can't get out of Crystal Cove Court not very happy. So there's talk that they're gonna try and get the same contractor, and just in years future, we might wanna look to see within a subdivision, we should probably pick one or the other so we don't have that kind of hoopla.
Well, and I talked to a resident on Crystal Cove Court this past week about that, and if Crystal Cove Court, our contract allows them to put in a written request to go off the township contract and go to somebody else. Because he was talking about maybe combining the districts, well, that would require action by the board and costs. But just opting out of the township contract and then the Four Lakes group asking their contractor to add them.
That's what's in works. I mean,
Okay.
it's on a neighborhood post stuff, so it's unrelated to what we're doing. I probably should keep my mouth shut, but it's coming, something similar to this, so, although this time I think, I'm not sure, but I think Fenton Groundskeeper would be losing.
Yeah, we'd be
So
taking Crystal Cove Court off the
Right.
township contract, but that's, we have that, we have a provision in the contract that allows that.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's,
should be an easy fix, but I just think going forward, we look at the subdivisions and probably makes some sense to try and have a single contractor for it, so.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion regarding the proposed revised private road snow removal agreement as presented.
Motion approved the revised snow removal agreement as presented.
Second?
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote yes. Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, next under new business, termination of herbicide application contract with Panema Squaw Tupper Lake Improvement Special Assessment District. Tom, will you review that also?
yeah, so, I was approached by Rick Butine from Progressive Companies, the environmental company that manages the treatments for the Special Assessment District for Panema, Anakagama, formerly known as Squaw Lake, and Tupper Lake. And apparently there were issues with the company that had acquired the company we initially contracted with, and they were convinced to agree to terminate the agreement. And what you have in the packet is a termination document already signed by the company, just awaiting the township's approval. Once that's done, Progressive will rebid that contract in time for the next year's treatments. So the recommendation is to approve the termination of the existing contract, and then we'll wait to hear back on the new contract.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions or comments from the board?
So would that impact the existing special assessment district potentially? I mean,
For
obviously
costs?
they're gonna bid it out, the cost may change.
If the cost changed drastically, it could, but what we've seen the first couple of years in this district started in '22, and they have been well under their budget every year. So my guess is even if the new contract is higher than the old one, it would probably still fit well within what they're collecting.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion regarding the proposed termination of the herbicide application contract with Solitude Lake Management for the Panema Squaw Tupper Lake Special Assessment District as recommended by Progressive Environmental.
Make a motion to approve the termination of the herbicide contract with Solid Food Lake Management as presented.
Second?
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Kessler,
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Tucker,
Present. Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Didn't wanna kill your chickens.
Just killed my leg.
That motion passes. All right, moving on to the next, next on our new business is the resignation from Fenton Township Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. As you all know, I'm sure you've reviewed the packet, but Ed Colito has retired from SLPR, and so in doing so, we have to, we will be retiring from our Parks and Rec Board. So are there any questions or comments from the board? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept with regret the resignation of Ed Colito from the Fenton Township Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Support motion to approve.
Second?
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
I vote yes, the motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. Next is the appointment to the Fenton Township Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Again, we've all reviewed the memo. Mike, anything you really want to say?
No.
Okay, really? Tyler Carpenter is taking over for Ed at Southern Lakes, and it is Mike and I's recommendation to have him replace Ed. So, any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion regarding the appointment of Tyler Carpenter to the Fenton Township Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for the term ending March 31st, 2027.
Or a motion to approve.
Second?
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right. Next on our new business, proposed amendments, 2025 Fenton Township budget. Operations Manager Broker will review.
Yes, okay, I'll try to not get too deep in the weeds here, but this is the final amendment to the 2025 budget. In the general fund, on the revenue side, we're putting a pretty substantial increase to building permit revenue due to increased building activity, that we had a lot in the fall, late in the year, that bumped that up. And $25,000 increase to interest revenue due to higher than projected investment balances. Increase to contracted services expense in the clerk and general admin to adjust to actual year-end projections. Similarly, $40,000 increase to building inspection contracted services to adjust to actual year-end. That's part of an offset to that permit revenue increase. $15,000 lake improvement expense to adjust to the final cost of the Panema Channel project. And then a contingency, a $300,000 increase to operating transfers out as a contingency for the water fund. So if you remember last year, or earlier this year, we ended up having to file a deficit elimination plan for the water fund. We had invoices that we received after our final budget amendment last year that caused us to have a net position, net unrestricted position, let me rephrase it, unrestricted net position deficit in the water fund. And we had two options, either file the deficit elimination plan or transfer money from the general fund, creating a budget violation. So we chose the former. What we're doing now is putting this in as a contingency. Right now, based on the numbers I got from the county, I don't think we're gonna need to transfer anything. I think our unrestricted net position in the water fund will still be positive when all the calculations are done for the year. But in case it's not, then we wouldn't create a budget violation by moving money over to cover it. Again, it's a timing issue. We're incurring expenses on phase 4, but we haven't issued any debt yet. That'll happen in 2026. So that's the reason for throwing that in to the budget. As of right now, I'm probably 90% sure we won't use any of it. And worst case, it'd be probably only about $100,000, but I want to cover that. The net effect of the proposed general fund amendments is a decrease to the total fund balance of $220,500. leaving an overall budget shortfall of about 1.586 million for the year. But 1.4 of that is the Thompson Road project, which comes from the restricted fund balance. So the projected decrease to to the unrestricted fund balance is 186,200. But because we budget very conservatively, right now we're projecting well under budget in almost every expense category. Our actual unrestricted fund balance is probably gonna increase about $500,000. So it's actually gonna be a plus year. So, but again, the budget line is always more conservative, so. On the fire fund, quite a few, not huge increases, basically adjusting to actual year-end projections. We did have the vehicle cost expense for the grass rig conversion, which the board had already approved, and the new fire chief truck, which the board had already approved, but we hadn't amended the budget since those approvals. So the budgeted unrestricted fund balance at year-end for the fire fund is a little under $500,000, which will probably be a little better than that. Street lighting, we did decrease the expenditures due to the adjustments we made earlier this year, after the street light audit, which reduced some of the costs on the special assessments. On the sewer fund, increase, $375,000 increase to connection fee revenue, $65,000 increase to interest revenue, $80,000 decrease to county operation and maintenance expenditures to adjust to actual year-end. $114,000 bond issuance cost increase for the bond issue we did in 2025, and a $75,000 increase to repair expenditures due to 2 large repair projects that could not have been anticipated. So the proposed amendments result in an increase to cash reserves of about $300,000 over the previous budget. In the water fund, $250,000 increase to connection fee revenue. We had not only Miller Industries, but the 2 special assessment projects added into that for this year. $50,000 decrease to use fee revenue to adjust to actual projections. With the $300,000 increase to operating transfers if needed. $18,000 decrease to county water expense to adjust to actual, and an increase of $205,000 to bond interest expense, and $122,000 to bond issuance costs, again to adjust to actual year-end. So for the water fund, for the year, I believe we're gonna be in the black, which is really unexpected this early in the process. They normally, and it may not continue every year, but generally the first several years, the general fund is gonna have to help out a new utility fund. But this year, we actually did really well, and if things still move in a positive direction as far as new connections, we'll see how that goes. But, you know, I keep using the same phrase, it's kind of a moving target, and we adjust as we go along, so. Let's see, there was only minor adjustments to the solid waste management fund, none worth reviewing in detail, and there are no amendments proposed for the private road maintenance SAD fund, the dog park fund, the lake improvement SAD fund, or the mosquito abatement fund. With all that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I mean, overall, we're sitting pretty good, right?
Financially, the township is in good shape. You know, we'll get the official word on that when we hear from the auditors in about 6 months. They'll be in April to do their field work, but again, with the general fund obviously is our barometer, and if we're gonna add another $500,000 to the unrestricted fund balance, we're still in really good shape going into 2026.
But for the butts, I would have a problem with the deficit in the general fund, but the butts carried the day. At the end of the day, we're talking about a $500,000 increase in unrestricted funds. I shut my mouth.
Well, and at some point, I mean, the board can decide, you know, we wanna invest this much into this infrastructure or these roads. Using some of that fund balance won't be a bad thing. It's just that every year we budget, we think, well, we're gonna be close, then at the end of the year, we end up being quite a bit better than we thought. So it's all been good news so far.
And Tom met with the county. I kind of stepped in at the end of the meeting, and the county's got some things coming up for roads. Yeah, but one of the largest complaints we get is roads, as you can, whether it's local, state, nationally, it's a big issue. And the county's coming up with some things, we're cost sharing. And we'll probably be bringing that to the board. Tom and I both agree that if we are in a healthy position, there are areas out there that we could use this money for. And if the county's gonna come up with 20%, which they've never had that high before, that maybe we can look at helping our residents out. So instead of, we would give 10%. So if it was $1 million project, well, that's high, but if it was a large project, the county would come up with 200,000, we would come up with 100,000, and the special assessment district would pay the 700. Well, that would be huge savings to our residents. And if we have the money and we're healthy and we can stay healthy, that's something the board should consider. And Tom and I have talked about that. We'll bring it to the board in the future. Any other questions or comments regarding the budget? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion regarding the proposed amendments to the 2025 Fenton Township budget as presented.
Motion to approve the proposed budget amendments as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Kessler,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
I vote yes, Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, moving on to board comments. Is there anyone on the board that has additional comments or concerns?
I just have a question about the water and how that's going, if we could just get a quick update. I mean, I know that the schools are now on it and Miller Industries is on it. Is there anyone else along the Thompson Road corridor existing that is hooked up to the water?
Tom,
I know Mott College is on.
the plumbers union is on. Mike and I think we've had 2 meetings this month on people that want to connect, people that are investing in the township, future developments, things like that. So the interest in it is high, but again, when you're talking to a developer like today, this isn't something that's gonna be happening tomorrow. If he's gonna build 50 units, it's gonna take time, so. But we do have people all the time, like Mike said, that are coming in to talk about the water.
The condos on Laring and Torrey are digging the pipes. I don't know if they've turned the spigots on yet or not.
Yeah, the one right by the
Right.
school.
Schools are all on.
Both of those
Yes.
condo
Yeah.
groups, right? The one on
That
the
was one
north
of the
and the
special
south.
assessments.
Yes.
we talked
Correct.
about.
Yeah. Glenn Devon,
Yeah.
I just got an update just before the meeting. They are still expecting the water turned on before Christmas.
Yeah, Melissa was telling me about that today.
Landings at Cranes Cove, I think they're gonna be early January.
Those are huge. Well, what I'll do too is, I know Melissa's on right now, but what I can do is that probably we should start doing a quarterly report. But like Tom said, I think we put 31, and it could change, but we put close to $31 million worth of pipe under the ground. And right now, for year 1, we're net positive, and which is unheard of, I think. And so I commend the board. Yeah, I think he's told, yeah.
Set in the black, I'm good with that.
Yep, well, it may not always be that way, like Tom said, but, right now in year 1, to be in the black, that's good, but looking at the interest in our township for future developments, just the Thompson Road corridor, it doesn't take a lot of connection fees to pay off those bonds, so, we'll see as it goes on, but, board made a good choice. Anything else, any other comments or concerns from the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. Is there anyone here? Our chief.
I just want to say thank you. The new chief truck is in service, sitting out front. The utility 16s pump's been installed, that's back and that's in service. Ladder 21 will be here, or truck 21 will be here hopefully in Michigan by Friday, we're hoping so. They'll change the fluids, everything, get it all ready to deliver, so we'll have that at the first meeting of the year. It'll be set up on full display for everybody to see it. Also, the first of the year, we're gonna start working on our ISO challenge. So anybody that's in the water line district of Thompson Road, Laring Road, Jennings Road, Torrey Road, are gonna see an exceptional drop in their insurance rating. So hopefully, it saves the money we thought it was going to.
Thanks, chief.
So
Questions
that's all
for-
coming up first of the year.
Did you see the grass rig is back in service now?
It is in service at Station 1, yes.
Okay.
Where will the new ladder truck be stored?
The ladder truck will be at Station 2 because of the length of the building.
And the height of the thing is
Yeah,
huge.
Mark and I were really surprised when we walked in there and saw it. Of course, they put it front and center right when we walked in the building so we'd see it. And
He was a little more excited than I was.
I'm sure my smile was from ear to ear, but
So was he, dude.
after 8.5 hours of review and going over it, we found a couple items. Usually they're like in the hundreds of things they find to be fixed. We were only at 24. So,
Which means-
we're all minimal stuff like wire ties,
That's
tying
props
up
to the
stuff.
company. I mean,
They did a great job.
for a new building, only getting 24 things. So
And it was our salesman's very first ladder truck. So he was very worried about it being right.
And my understanding is you're gonna have it sitting front and center for our next meeting?
It will
All
be there.
shined up,
It will be there.
won't miss it.
excluding,
Yeah.
you know, Mother Nature and what she can do.
Trustee Gopel got a chance to drive it, which he was pretty proud of. I was pretty proud of him. He did a good job, so.
Another part-time job.
Fun fact,
Oh, no.
Certified to operate the truck.
he actually went through the same training I went through, so it was great to have him there.
Oh,
asked a
the
lot of
new
questions.
driver.
He asked a ton of questions, which was great, plus he's already got a firefighter background, so he knows all about the fire trucks, so.
Hey, Chief, that ladder truck, how many stories does that cover reference to?
So 107 feet, you figure 10 foot per story, do the math, so.
Oh.
We'll be able to do a lot of work in the township with
Nice.
building heights, a lot of things, so.
Where does that rank as far as being 107 feet, as far as county trucks? Because I know that not too many municipalities have that. So are we going to,
The average is 100 foot
okay,
of the big
The big ones.
tower, they call them towers.
10.
110's pretty much the max around here.
how many of those are in Genesee County?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe there's 6 or 7 100-foot plus, and then there's like 2 or 3 75-footers.
Also, Bill, for what it's worth, and you'll back me on this, it isn't necessarily the height thing, it's the reach. I mean, we can shoot a horizontal in, say, a lake house. You know, you got 10 feet between lake houses. This can actually pop right between there, hit the, turn around.
The back of the
backwards and-
house.
And the nozzle can shoot upward and back.
Yeah, so.
Plus for confined space rescue, it's already set up with a rescue harness on it. We pop 2 pins in, we don't have to set our tripod up anymore. This thing goes over, boom, sets over top of the manhole cover. It's already an established USAR retrieval device, so it's got a lot of different things we can use it for, so it's
Well,
not just
think
shooting
about it,
water.
Bill, the people on the lake, like Mark was saying, you know, you got 2 houses that, you know, maybe a truck like that certainly couldn't get to the back, but the fire's contained to the back. They can just go right between them with the ladder and,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Our residents are very lucky and I had no idea that we actually saved $700,000.
Well, we've never
Talk
had
about the
the-
next meeting.
And we've never had the use for one, just for the simple fact that we have municipal water now, we can use it because it's got a 2,000 gallon per minute pump on it. And Mark saw, when we put it from tank to pump, the water was gone in about 10 seconds,
300-gallon tank, and it was,
500.
the tank.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3.
No, it's 5. It was gone like right
Yeah,
now.
it was quick, so.
So at 2,000 gallons a minute, it'll drain it pretty quick.
And as the corridor grows and hotels built and, you know, 4 or 5 stories,
Yep.
couldn't do that unless we had the
That's right.
type of equipment. So we're preparing for the future.
But
Thanks,
again,
Chief.
thank you.
Thank you.
Did I get the middle?
Yeah,
No, I,
he wanted to know when he could reserve the room at the hotel.
yeah.
Hi.
Oh,
For the ISO rating, for all of our residents, a lot of people don't listen to this. Do we have a plan in place to send some type of notification out to those residents to notify their insurance company?
we will be communicating social media and, we, in 2025, this year, we did a newsletter that went almost throughout the whole township, and depending on, you know, we may just do the routes that the water are along, but I think it's a great idea to communicate that, because it is a huge savings, according to the chief, like 30% or more.
Some places would be more, depends, and it's by your square footage too, I mean, your insurance is, they rate your, depending on which, insurance company you go to, they rate it differently, so.
Okay. Is there anybody else in attendance that would like to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items? We don't have anybody with us except for Melissa, that's joined us via Zoom, so.
Well, Megan's there, I wanna know if the baby's awake. I wanna see the baby.
Uh-oh, Megan, you're gonna need to unmute. I think you just put her on the spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's asleep.
Sure.
She's asleep.
Sure, I'm coming over and checking that.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Megan.
Hey, Megan, why don't you
Here, she's the same.
Bundle the baby up.
Excellent work, Megan.
Thank you.
Bring it over and drop her off at John's for
Yeah,
Christmas.
for the weekend.
I do grandkids, I'm good.
That small?
Yeah, she's pretty low key, so she's the one you want. Maybe not the other one sitting next to me, but.
A sort of Christmas miracle, I like it.
Yeah, she's exactly where she wants to be right now, I can tell you that. Well, if there's nothing else, I do want to say this is our last meeting. I want to thank the board for all the hard work that they do. I know our residents appreciate it. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate and worship. But, you know, I want to say thanks to everybody. And again, everybody that's out there that does watch, Merry Christmas, happy, safe, prosperous New Year. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Merry Christmas,
All
everybody.
right. Well, it is now 7:25 PM, and if there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned. Good night.